You know, uh,
Hey,
I've
who's
spent,
recording it?
yep, I've spent a
Oh,
lot of
okay, you
time.
are. Okay. All right. Okay, let's start then. The boss started recording it, Craig.
All right. So
So,
let's take a moment. Let's talk about what opportunity means and where it comes to play into our lives. Opportunity isn't something that is just lucky. It's something that it usually is being created because of circumstances or being created by individuals, and so that as a consequence, oftentimes you can see that an opportunity is sitting in front of you, and that it holds potential. And even though maybe you know how to participate in that opportunity, you can see it develop. There is a famous management authority. His name was Peter Drucker. He's passed away now. He wrote he wrote like 10, 12 books, and I read most of them. And that in one of those books, he said, true opportunity comes through a process of convergence. In other words, within the society, converging elements come together to create an opportunity that did not exist before. And that is especially true of technical convergence. And any of you who are over the age of 25, you've seen technology come into our society, transforming our society, creating opportunity for a lot of people as desktops came in and digital came in and mobile came in, and all these things began to occur in part because society was ready for it. The demographics of society was set to embrace it, and that the technical elements to make those things happen came together to create a variety of new products, the mobile phone, everything we know, the miniaturization of computers, all of that has happened in part because of the process of convergence. And so that we're going to talk about the elements that are converging in our society today that are creating an opportunity of significant proportion, and that you cannot underestimate just how large that opportunity is, and that we're going to take a few moments and we're going to talk about. First of all, we're going to talk about our industry, the one that we're in. We're going to talk about direct sales. Direct sales have been around for a long time. There are companies out there doing billions of dollars in direct sales. Certainly, the grandfather of direct sales historically has been Avon, but also you have Amway, companies that do billions and billions of dollars in revenue. But direct sales is under a lot of pressure right now, and in part because of the gig economy. People are working at home, people are driving Uber, host of things that they didn't do, just a few years ago, because technology has that has changed the nature, changed the nature of how people. And so that when you look in terms of direct sales right now, you can see the whole industry is in an uproar. You have that are trying to capitalize themselves because they know that the future is going to be different than what the past has been. And so those of you who are watching business news, you have seen Jeunesse, which is a fairly large direct sales company. They've refinanced. They've got an investment partner that's come in and saved them. Herbalife, you've seen them issue bonds in the last few months, position themselves in the future. And just today, have come and they announced that they were getting outside funding. All of them, they know that the world of direct sales is in transition, and that as a consequence, the companies that are out there right now, many of them are not going to make it. And this is because of the change that has taken place, in part because of the advent of technology into the industry. And so that when you take a look at direct sales, you begin to see that there's a lot of changes taking place, and with those changes, opportunities are opening up to the company who understands what all of that means. And capital barrier also being created, where small companies are not going to have the money to follow the technological logical changes, and that those technological changes are rooted in the coming forward of artificial intelligence. You would have had to have lived on Mars not to read articles over the last little while in terms of the advent of artificial intelligence into and that Chat GPT, which is a generative artificial intelligence, has transformed much of what is taking place in technology. You see Microsoft invested into Chat GPT $10 billion. $10 billion. Just a little while, that $10 billion, its value has gone up to $70 billion. Reason is that it's going to be formative technology, and that Microsoft is doing this knowing destroy Bing, their search engine. But it is such a transitional moment that they are investing money, even though it's going to destroy current business. And so that let's take a look at AI, artificial intelligence, and let's see what its element of convergence does for us. First of all, AI it sits there. It's a collection of data and the organization of data so that you can make predictions. In other words, AI allows you to look into the future because it takes broad sources of data, not just in terms of structured data, but also in terms of unstructured data, which are videos, audios, emails, text messages. It sorts through data of a vast quantity, and it makes predictions about what products are going to be popular, when they will be popular. There's just a whole list of trends place in society because of the advent of artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence has been gaining momentum in our society probably for the last 10 years. Predictions is that it will bring in $15 trillion. That's what it $15 trillion of new revenue into the world as a transformative power. And so that it is out there, it has started, but not all companies are going to be able to use it. First of all, artificial intelligence and the sifting and the analyzing of the data that comes through that system makes everything more expensive. Only companies put it all together so that they can use it will be able to take full advantage of that. Second of all, some people will use artificial intelligence just for a specific, but the companies that will make the biggest splash in this arena will embrace it completely, and beginning of the company to the end of their company, and that they will involve all elements of their company utilizing the come from the collection of data and the sourcing through that data and the analyzation that takes place through an AI prism. And that is what they're doing. They have the money to do it. They are going to invest at least $500 million in the pursuit of this transformative moment, not just for the industry, but a transformative moment for society. And so that they want to create basically a new company that is being governed by AI principles, which means that the workers within Nu Skin will lay off a lot of those workers because AI will make them redundant. They will not be important. But out in the field, AI will take on a whole different array of tasks because it to predict which products will be which customers at what time of the year or what time of the day. And so the predictive AI, you can see how it will transform revenues created. If you want a simple example of that, all you have to do is look at Amazon. Amazon, the calculation is that Amazon, 35% of Amazon's revenue comes from recommendations. In other words, artificial intelligence to source through their knowledge of their consumers. And then they put recommendations forward because through the artificial intelligent mechanism, high likelihood that will be interested in the product they put forward. And that 35% of their sales comes from the engagement of their consumers and the recommendation that comes through an AI transom. And so as a consequence, you start to see that it can really elevate the amount of revenue that is created because you are now meeting the customer on the customer terms. You know what they want, you know when they want it, and you're able to communicate to them in a convenient sort of way a variety of products that they have at least signified that they would be interested. Another example of that is 80% of the selections on Netflix comes from recommendations. Only 20% comes from search. You just can't look at these types of numbers not to appreciate that an AI recommendation system consumption of our products because it will help our customers better and help us understand when they will buy and where and how. But it's not just that. There's other elements in our society that is also converging. Those of you who read the business news, maybe you have paid attention where Facebook they're subject to I think, about $700 million in fines in the European Union. Reason is that the European Union feel like they have misused the data that they. What we are starting to see, and this was laid out in an article in Wired magazine, starting to see the end of what has historically been called surveillance capitalism. In other words, the money that Facebook has made has come from revenue that has been gleaned by advertising using an AI mechanism. They have followed people as they have come off of the Facebook page. They have followed them to the other pages that they tracked by Facebook. So Facebook can then place advertising that will be indicative of their wants and needs. Well, Facebook has lost they have lost half value because Apple a couple years ago told we are not going to let you follow people from one site to another, that they will preclude them from doing that. And as a Facebook lost half of their stock. If you've wondered why every time you go for, they're asking you if you will accept their cookies. So that cookie is just a way to follow you in terms of track your information. If you've wondered why suddenly that's everywhere, it's because Apple is telling people they're not going to allow them to do that as they have historically allowed it. And as a consequence, the monetization of Facebook and a host of other companies are now at risk. And is not going to be able to maintain as they do not have the monetization structure that they had before because Apple is not letting them do that. And so when you look in terms of what's taking place in Europe, you can see that the era, just as Wired magazine said, the era of surveillance capitalism is coming to an end. Is that companies and governments are not going to let people take your personal information and then use it to sell things. And that many people are saying that what is taking place is that your personal information is becoming intellectual property. And like Mickey Mouse is intellectual property for Disney, you can't use the image of Mickey Mouse without paying Disney. Your personal information is moving towards a day where people will not be able to use your personal data without paying you for that usage. And so that is a world that we're entering into. That is a world that's going to change how Google is financed, how Facebook is financed, how all these companies on surveillance capital, how they made money. That's all going to be jumbled up, if not absolutely disappear. And so about convergence of what's taking place. We see an industry that is struggling to become modern, and that many of those participants in that direct sales be able to go forward, and therefore their distributors are going to be available to us to bring into our networks. All right, we're seeing AI and the technology scramble the way people make money on the internet, scramble how people are connected on the internet. And we see that that's going to change some of the biggest players in the technology world. and that they, there's no there believe that Facebook is going to make through this situation intact. Facebook has gone into investing $10 billion a year in metaverse because they're trying to control their monetization, and it's not working out for them. And so there's a lot of uncertainty in this. And in that uncertainty, there's a lot of upside potential if you can figure the place where you can deposit yourself in the middle of the changes, in the middle of the convergence of technology and social trends, and that you can participate in those changes. And that's the intention of Nu Skin. Nu Skin is going to create where they are going to gather, the data. They are going to collect that data on a voluntary basis that will allow them, because sales is all about monetizing people's network, and that they're going to monetize the network, and they're going to collect the data that comes through that network by permission. They're going to use that data then to create a data lake that will then allow them to predict product purchases, predict not just but will also predict which distributors will be good. AI has the ability to put those people into that data lake and tell you the percentage chance of that individual becoming a blue diamond or becoming an executive. So you don't have to misspend your time pursuing someone that the data says the likelihood of them becoming successful in any meaningful way is pretty small. And so that AI has the ability to transform not just product purchases, but it will transform how the business works on the distributor side as well. And so that this is a pretty strong indication that Nu Skin is going to take a step forward, because none of our competitors are anywhere near what we're doing. The company has been paying attention to this for the last several years. When they went on to the cloud, they got rid of their own server farm. They went on the cloud because they knew that they were going to have to process unbelievable amounts of data. So they went on to the cloud a couple years ago. They began to survey the data the data that comes in from other sources that they can use. They have created Vera and Stella as a form, not just in terms of serving the distributors, but also as a place to collect data. So they have the assessments. And so their intention, a situation where lots of information is being gathered, and that there is an iconic statement in technology that information is more valuable than dollars. And so that we are pursuing information, data, so we can turn it into usable information, so that that information can create a business that has never been seen before. And that is, true opportunity. When you place yourself with new products in an emerging industry and your products have never been seen before, then you have a true opportunity. And the thing that is going to separate us from other people who are doing predictions and using AI isn't just that we're going to take the company and we're going to use AI from beginning to end. That is what's taking place right now. It's also the creation of a product that has never been seen in direct sales before, never been seen actually in the beauty wellness ever before, and that is digital twins. Digital twins is a concept that's been around for about a decade. It has come out of the production area of life, where if, let's say, Boeing is going to build a new aircraft, instead of putting it together physically and discovering problems as they move along, as they build an aircraft digitally, so that they can see the problems before they have to physically put it all together. And so production elements have been out there building digital twins. But no one has gone into the building of biological digital twins for the consumer. We're just barely starting the digital age with medicine. Some heart surgeons are starting to build a digital twin of the heart prior to the operation, so that they're not caught off guard by what they find when they open up that patient's chest. And so that what we're doing is something that's never been done before. We are collecting that data so we can populate a digital twin, and that those people who come into the business, we will populate that data into the digital twin, and it might be data, public data that comes from the government about the problems that are associated with people who are 35 or 45, and the different elements that happen to people as they age, or the different elements that happen to people as they gain weight, or the different elements that happen to people when they lose weight, or the amount of stress you're under. In other words, there's a host of different digital libraries of results for how people live, and that we're going to download that into the environment. At the same time, we're going to create an environment where people can load up their own medical information for their own use on the digital twin, so that it will make a prediction of the products that they use, if their skin needs to be taken care of, which products would be best for a woman who's 45 and lives in a dry climate, or someone who is 25 and that has had a history of skin problems. All of those can go into that database through an AI prism, and that it would then put out predictions and suggestions in terms of what that person at their age, with their circumstances and their background and their DNA. And so the company is working to cement a deal with DNA companies where that digital twin can be populated with DNA information. It's just a part of the data lake that would be available to the person utilizing that digital twin. And so this is a product that's never been done before. It should separate us from our competitors. It will put us in a position to make recommendations to customers at a level that has never been seen, certainly not in direct sales, to where you can say, okay, you turned to be 35, your skincare needs have changed, and that you need to buy this product and this product because the data lake behind your digital twin has told us through that process, through an AI process, this is what you have to pay attention to. It will change the nature of how products are sold in a direct sales company. It will be selling products when distributors are doing other things, because it's something that will be working 24/7, as opposed to, we go to bed at night, or we go on vacation, or we spend time with our family. The interjection of the digital twin and the predictions and the perusal of that information will be taking place 24/7, year in, year out. And so the elevation of overall revenue is going to be meaningful. And that means the network will be more valuable. And so as we sit here and you say to yourself, okay, the company's going to work on this. They are working on this. They've had a group of distributors that they have had come in and give them guidance over the course of the last 4 or 5 months in terms of the interaction of how this will all work in the field. They're going to expand that inclusive group to about 30, 35, well, actually more than that now. They're going to do it to the team elites to explain as we move down this road where we are and the timetable that we're going to engage in before these products start to emerge on the mount or into the marketplace. What that means for people who are building an organization is that it's transparent to anybody out there that those people who lay a foundation and develop a sales organization and network prior to let's say, going into a different geographic area, going to a different country. So before that country is opened up, if you have a sales organization that takes advantage of the opening of that country, those salespeople generally have an advantage in terms of penetrating that particular market. The same thing holds true here, is that if we go into this AI environment and that we transform the industry and that we participate in the other changes, then we are going to basically go into a different type of market. Certainly, in a very real sense, we will become a different type of company. And that as a consequence, those people who have laid that new foundation should be able to do, significant things, because we have seen this work before as we've opened up, 53 different countries around the world, and opened up different markets within the company. In other words, the transition from skincare into Pharmanex, where we opened up the nutritional market by additional products and given it a separation. We do $1 billion a year in Pharmanex. That was an additional. That's going into a new market, and those people who took advantage of that got a good return. And so that's where we're at. In other words, right now the company is laying this foundation. They're working with distributors. They're exposing what they're doing. Everything changes every day, and that if you're interested in this, let me just say this: go do your own research. Right? I used to say this years ago, because I would tell people, knowing that most of them wouldn't, because research was a problem. But research is no longer a problem. Go do your own research. Let me give you a few things that for you to look at, that you can do your own research and come to your own conclusions about the transformational moment that we face. Right now, go out and look at Facebook. Search out Facebook fines with the EU. And so you'll begin to realize that what I've told you about the uncertainty of the monetization of Facebook is true. Go look in terms of Google and Google's monetization issue and their concern around chat GPT. Look up chat GPT and see that it's going to be transformative as an interface. Go look up Apple and what Apple has done to precipitate all those signs that have come up on your screen about accepting the cookie. Go look up just the meaning of natural language processing, which is basically what we're talking about: the processing of data out of natural language to where you can sift the meaning of random elements and put meaning into it so that you see things that before were hidden from you. And that is the base of AI. It exposes opportunity that historically were hidden from you. And so go look up those things. Go look up the article in Wired on surveillance capitalism. See, if you do that, what I'm saying to you becomes, you'll say, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it might be a question for you, can I take advantage of it? But there will be no question in your mind that the opportunity is there to anyone who builds a network and grows as the company steps into this environment and participates in the rising volume. Part of the $15 trillion that are going to be stimulated by AI technology is that you can participate in that. That won't be the question. Well, the question will be personal, not institutional. Will this work? It'll be, can I participate in it? And so the question become personal, not institutional, and that'll help you make your decision. So look up digital twin. It will be an eye opener to you in terms of the value of what we're building right now. Look up digital twin, and you'll walk away and say, "Wow, this is something that's going to be large." Okay, is there anything else? Let's see, what else would I like to talk about? Come on, ask me a few questions here, Patrick. I got started a little earlier than you had anticipated. So ask me a few questions. Anything I can answer, anything I can approach, anything I can elaborate on.
Okay. I guess to make it manageable, whoever has a question, would you put it in chat so we won't cut off everybody? All right.
Okay,
I cut off that. Who was that?
Lisa has a question already.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Let me see. What's the question? Chat. Well, first of all, let me thank Craig.
Lisa
Okay.
Park. Yeah. No, thanks, Greg. Yeah. Lisa Park asked, is there a timeline as to when Nu Skin will roll something like this out?
Let me put this into sequences. All right. The first going to take in is probably what they call narrow AI, and that is the ability to predict what products people would like. In other words, it doesn't take a lot of analytics to go into narrow AI. I mean, it's expensive because AI has, I think, two different sifting regular analytics doesn't have, and that's one of the reasons why we're not going to have a lot of competitors. Certainly not new startup competitors, because the capital barrier is there in terms of keeping down competition. And so that the first step will be narrow AI, which will be predictions and those elements. The next step, and that I would think we'll see that come out. I would think within a 6-7 months time. I think that also at that point, at a fairly fast pace, we'll see the beginning of the digital twin. They're doing mock-ups of the digital twin right now. How to populate that, how to convey information out of a digital twin, is something they're working on right now. They have already engaged some of the best people in the industry for the algorithms that connect the information, the data to the desired information. You need algorithms to work, and so that they are working on the algorithms as we speak, and have been working on the algorithms for a while to make all of this work. They're crucial to everything I've said, crucial to artificial intelligence in general, and certainly everything that I've spoken of this evening. And so that we're looking at probably 4 or 5 months before we see narrow AI. You're going to see some transformations just in analytics in terms of what they're doing. Vera is going to be an automatic, in about 30 days, maybe 3 weeks. Vera, you can send a connection to Vera. If people download that or connect on that on what you send them, it will take them to the app store page. They download the app and they will be automatically connected to you, and you don't have to give them your number. It'll be an automatic connection. And so they're trying to speed up the whole process of connections, because they understand that it's the connections where you collect data, and that Vera is part of that collection system. But also the IO products are part of the collection system, is that they're going to digitize those IO products to collect data. And so that we're seeing the IO products starting to come in, but they are going to be a collection point for data, because again, the amount of data that you have is going to give you the worth of the AI predictions. So that they're deep into predictions, or deep into data collection, and their data collection is growing like 5,000%, day over day, because they're deep into this. So they're farther along than you might think, but it will start in narrow AI, moving on to the digital twin.
All right, Craig, here's a question. Are you concerned about skepticism regarding AI collection and DNA being leaked, so that consumer won't share their DNA because they don't trust storage of DNA? I think that's one legal issue that the legal department has to work out, right?
The legal department does have to work it out. But if people are concerned about the leaking of their DNA, they don't need to send it, right? People are going to make the decision whether they want to share their DNA or whether they don't. The company, the DNA is only merely one more avenue, one more stream of data. It is not a make or break situation. And so if people are concerned about the DNA and the security, then they don't need to share their DNA. The company is also working with blockchain technology, trying to create a situation where people know that their DNA is safe. But let me make a prediction. And I'm not speaking for Ryan, right? I'm speaking for my observation of where we are and the potentials that sit out there over the course of the next couple of years. Is that if governments decide that personal information is an extension of your private property, in other words, it's your intellectual property, then all companies are going to have to pay for it. and that they're going to have to give people some type of value for the use of that information, so that people can put advertise that those people would like, and that they would utilize in terms of making their purchases. But I think that we're going to head down that road where it will be intellectual property. One of the things that we are experienced in is how to monetize networks. And that there's no reason, I don't think, that we can't sit there and look at a person collecting their own data, and that we can't monetize the data within their digital twin, that we can't monetize that data through a variety of different ways, to where they can receive a check from the company, whether they're distributors or not. And that you look in terms of the overarching concerns around AI, is that it goes up that 50% of the jobs in the United States are going to be threatened by the advent of AI into our employment environment. And so that you have to say to yourself, at some point, people are going to say this has value. They need to be paid for that value, and that I think we could end up monetizing that information. And by monetizing, that's an implicit guarantee, or an implicit permission to use that in different ways. And we could use it. I mean, it's the network, right? It's the information that has value. How we use that information, we can go into adjacent opportunities, right? And we could sell things that we have never sold before, because the distributors don't have to invest their time to make the sale. The sale occurs through the AI mechanism. So we could suddenly see ourselves getting an income stream off of products that we don't know anything about. And the reason is that, one, the company could sell advertising within the context of the network. The company could a percentage, and we'd get a fractional percentage off a product that we don't know anything about. It would be like found money. And that I can't believe for a moment that we won't go down this road, because it all makes sense. And that is that distributors collect the information, they develop the network, they encourage the information, the information to come into the company, and then the company uses that information through an AI environment to sell more products. And so that in many ways, it's classical economics. The distributors are used in the most productive way, and the company uses the AI in terms of retailing products in the most productive way, and that money goes through the marketing plan and back into the hands of the distributors. I just don't see where you look at this, where we can go down any other road, as long as the company is committed. And you have to remember, we shouldn't be afraid of AI or data collection, because data expires. Old data has little value through the passage of time. That data has to be updated, and someone has to arrange that. It'll change the nature of what the business is about. Now, the company hasn't bid off on all of that, but I don't know how. I don't know how they can go down this road and not come to that conclusion. Okay.
Okay, Craig. Yeah, another thing. Now with the LumiSpa IO, they're collecting data. Can you give us some idea? What kind of data have they collected, and what do the data show? How people use it, when they use it, and all that.
Let me give you some of the high points of that. First of all, they immediately came to appreciate that they didn't know, and they should have known, but they didn't know that virtually everyone used LumiSpa IO at 11 o'clock at night. In other words, the women who are using it are cleaning the faces before they go to bed, and so they know that that's a period of time when they're engaged in skincare, and that means that it gives them a heads up. That's when they can text them, or they can communicate with them suggestions or anything else that they might want to suggest while they're in the act of cleaning their face. And so that they have, they have found that people who go onto the website and order off the website, they on average, the order is, I think it's $180. But the average order through the app, after they've taken the assessment, the average order is like $430. In other words, these numbers start to give you a sense of how the interaction with the customer at different times stimulates higher levels of purchasing. And so just those two data points gives the company an avenue in terms of when they should be communicating with their customers, and also the understanding that giving the customer more information stimulates more sales. And so as a consequence, yeah, they are collecting data, and that is helping them understand the business as it stands right now.
Great,
Question?
great. Anyone got more questions? No?
Okay, hey, I did my 45 minutes. That's what you asked me to do there.
Great, great.
That was
I
great.
mean, thank you very much for coming on for this group here, okay?
It was my, I want everyone to know, I love Pat and Marguerite. How long have we known one another? Pat, I mean, has it been 35 years? I mean, it's got to be somewhere around there.
35
Since
years.
day one, almost.
Yeah.
We are that old, Greg.
Yeah. But I think that you are always the person up there started the company, and then we are the little peons in the beginning.
Oh, it's not true. Well, you have done unbelievable things, and I admire you guys a great deal. I do. So.
Yeah. Thank
right.
you. Love you.
Okay. I love you
Okay.
guys.
Invite you again. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Thank
We
you,
have
Craig.
more.
Okay.
Bye.
Now,
Craig, do you
everybody
want to
stay
stay?
behind, okay? I have something else to show you guys.
Yeah,
After
a little
Craig,
point.
Craig has to travel tomorrow. That's why. I mean, I moved this call earlier. Okay. All right. Let me stop the recording and start it again.